And we're live! Woo!
We're living?
Woo! We're living! We're
Oh,
leaving!
I thought we were zombies this whole time. Kind of disappointed.
Oh, honestly, wild stuff. Would have been crazy. Would have been the most interesting thing ever.
Wouldn't be the first time.
No. Would have just been like, alright. Good stuff.
Oh boy, here I go dying again.
Ah!
And hello everyone. Chaotic start as usual.
Yes, welcome to the nightmare that is the start of our show, as usual. They never make sense. We kind of just
We won't
get here.
we will never make sense. But that's our shtick.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't make sense. We won't make sense. We probably won't continue to make sense.
Making sense is boring.
Making sense is easy. It's too easy. We just gotta ramble here for another minute or so until the bot picks up and says, "Hey, you're live on Twitch," because that's where our notifications go. And then we can start talking about all the fun things that are happening. Oh my goodness, all the things.
The happenings are happening.
The happenings are happening. They have been happening.
This week has been very, very good for Star Citizen. And not just information, even live. Live has been great.
Yes, because we're live again on a new patch. We have bumped up to a new patch, and there's our thing. There's our little message.
We did it!
We did it! Yay! We did it! All right, now we can actually start talking about the real stuff because people are, I don't know, maybe people are gonna join in now that they've seen it. Maybe.
Allegedly.
Possibly, quite possibly.
But I think for a good start, because it's not super in-depth, but it is kind of crazy news. Player tests this week. 1,000 players on the server.
Yeah, it went... So, to be 100% honest, it went just about as good as one might expect it to go.
It didn't go.
Yeah, it did not really... No, it didn't go. It went kind of rough. But based on CIG and what they've said, and if okay, I'm going to assume we can trust CIG. I'm going to assume
They've been good recently. They've been very good.
I'm going to trust that we can say or see what they say and be like, yeah, that makes sense. But they said that in the 2 hours of playtest or 3 hours of playtest, that they got more information than they have on that system in ages.
And I think that's really one of the important things that people need to understand with these playtests. You're not actually meant to go in and play. You're not going to get the real experience of Star Citizen. It is purely for data analysis and information. While in the fun sense it sucks, it helps a lot.
Yeah. And CIG was they excuse me, my voice. They were very candid today, or not today, yesterday, 2 days ago, when they were running the test, that this is going to go bad. We are pushing the servers beyond their breaking point. We know. Trust us. And then things went bad. They pushed the servers past their breaking point, and things went wrong. So,
the thing is, it's from an outside perspective, or people that don't act that are newer to Star Citizen and everything, I know on paper that sounds bad. Oh, wouldn't you want this to work? Aren't they pushing this stuff to work? They are. But that's why it's in the testing realm.
Yeah, and that's why... Oh, sorry, man.
Also, we need to break it in order for them to fix it.
Yep. Well, that's what I was about to say, is that, they basically came out and said, this stuff will not work, but it will eventually work. And admittedly, like they started off, they were at like I think regular level of players on the replication server, and they pushed it up to 600, 700, and 600, 700. The game was actually like rather playable, which is astonishing to me. Like the game was functional beyond a bit of little hiccupy issues.
Well,
Once it got to 1,000, it fell all the way apart.
I still remember that. Remember 200 player servers were like a mind blowing thought process?
Oh yeah, even what we've got now at like 125 being where they cap out is crazy.
That was a year ago, basically. Was like 200 players at a server was like, wow, that's wild. Well, that's not going to happen. Now they're like, hey, we're doing like 500, 1,000. Well, it's not working perfectly. The fact they could even run that in any capacity is wild.
Honestly, going from 50 player servers to what we've got now is that's the biggest thing. That's the craziest thing for me.
Mm.
And
No, no.
yeah,
So I think that's the biggest news about all the test server stuff.
yes, that we saw a 1,000 player test. It didn't really go great, but all that said, like that's kind of where they want to be is, you know, testing these things as they get better, as they get worse, as they go good, as they go bad.
It gets us information and knowledge that is beyond needed to make this game better. And I'm gonna be 100% real. Like we're gonna be showering CIG in praise here recently. Whatever they are doing, they're still doing great, and they're only improving.
Yep, and that's like I think that's the biggest thing as we watch the development and watch the things that are coming out and the new content that they're giving us is that like they are still progressing and they're progressing faster than they were in the past. Also in a way that makes sense.
Well, and again, like one of the big things here as well is I don't think 3.24 is getting the recognition it should. The game went from running mediocrely to running incredibly good and looking better. I don't know how they made it look better, but they did.
They did something that wasn't in the patch notes and it made the game look, feel, and function like I'll say so much different than what it was before. And I think that is a huge step in the right direction. Additionally, the other thing that's big is CIG has put the new, I think it's RMQ is what they're calling it.
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure, or I don't actually remember what the exact name is. Let me scroll back because I want to name the right thing.
Well, I mean, even this patch here, because they just pushed it out this weekend, it's been running really well, and whatever they've been doing, game's beautiful now. Yeah. It runs better, it looks better, it's smoother. The other thing is they finally, like, we're really used to missions breaking, and then that's just really it for a few months. They fix so much stuff with these smaller patches now.
Well, and what I was saying with the RMQ, now that I've just scrolled back and caught what I was meaning to look at, as opposed to what I was looking at incorrectly. The RMQ system is essentially a new way of handling like server client queries. From what I can gather and like what I know about game development, everything you do in a game sends a query to the server, and the server has to respond, or it has to log information, or things like that. Like if you're purchasing something, if you're calling a ship out of the ASOP terminal, all of that needs to go through the server query system. The RMQ is the new server query system, and that's what they were trying to push to its limits with 1,000 player testing. Well, they whacked it down to 350 players, and they decided, okay, this is good, it's going alive. So 324.1 that we're playing on has a whole new backend system to make things run quicker. And oh my goodness, can you tell? The AI are smarter. Like things function with less delay. It is wild.
Well, and that's the big thing is inventory. The biggest point I've noticed is inventory management, and you'll know this one way too well. The fact that shuttle systems in the game are working great along with panels for your ships, beautiful.
Things that the query system handles seem to be functioning to a much higher degree than they were, like even a patch ago.
I'm used to things taking a minute to react to you, like pushing buttons and stuff. Everything is so much more fluid now, and it literally, it just works. It actually does.
We'll throw the Todd Howard at them. It just works. It just works.
Except it does, which is weird.
Yeah, and like weird and altogether really not expecting that things just function.
And the really funny thing about it all, and this is, I try to take everything with a grain of salt, especially with Star Citizen. It is not a full-fledged game. It is an alpha state game. I know it's been out for God, how many years? 10 plus. It's easily 10 plus now.
Yeah,
14, 15.
We're at like 10 years.
Games take that long to develop. The only difference is we're seeing it firsthand. We're part of it.
So it's public.
And a lot of people go, oh, well, this should have been done. Well, it could have been, or it might have not been, but we wouldn't have known about the game. They'd be developing it.
Well, and additionally, like, my biggest counter to the game should have been done in 2015 statement. Because people are all over the place. They're like, oh, Chris promised the game was going to be finished at the end of 2015, yada, yada, yada. And, like, I've even had arguments in the community about it before. Yes, that makes sense, and it is unfortunate the game wasn't finished in 2015. But look at what they had on deck at 2015 and what the plans for the game were. Like, okay, we could have in 2016 seen 100 systems. But back then, they had just made the transition from the thinking of, okay, we're going to have one landing zone per planet and a whole bunch of planets in a system. And, like, the moons were traveling around and all of these space stations and the blankness of space that we are interacting with would not have existed.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, scope changed.
And again, the scope may have changed, but there really isn't a game that offers what Star Citizen does, besides Star Citizen.
No, and that's the biggest thing.
I know there's still plenty of things in the works, but like even recently with the 3.24, cargo is actually one of the most fun things now.
Yep.
I'm a combat guy. I like flying around. I like ground combat. I'm having fun with cargo. I was not ready for that.
Well, and so here's another statement. This is going to be a bit of a... It's going to be a long shot, and it's going to be a hot take. But if CIG had said, we're going to be finished with Star Citizen in 2015, 2016, when people were like, oh, he said it was going to be done. If they'd stayed the course, finished the game, we would have gotten Starfield. We would have gotten open world Starfield. And that is it. Like, that's the game we would have gotten.
Yeah. And it genuinely is just a unique experience. And now I understand all the core mechanics aren't there. I know a lot of people, they'll jump in, they'll play during the free flight, they'll go in, they'll do a couple missions and go, oh, this is the same thing, this is such a scam.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. I promise you, looking around the game and exploring what you have for options, AAA companies have been scamming you.
Yeah.
Especially, obviously, the progress we're seeing now, as well with the game, it is just ramping up. They have not hit the brakes. I would say they had a little bit of a hiccup after CitizenCon last year. There was kind of a quiet moment after their hype, but now they're just rolling forward again.
Yep. And as far as, because I guess this is the perfect time for some housekeeping. As far as our content goes, just so you guys are aware that are watching, the next couple weeks are likely going to be quite dry from like what we have from the stream, or like what we can tell people. Just because CIG has said that the SCLs are stopping, the ISCs are stopping, and everything from their media team, not everything from their media team, but all the regular shows are stopping until CitizenCon. So we're about to go into a content drought. I'm hoping we have enough for the next couple shows, but if we don't, we may have short shows. Regardless, we will still keep you guys up to date on anything big that happens, but I don't expect anything big to happen until CitizenCon, about this time next month.
Yeah. And that's. I just realized how close CitizenCon actually is. Like, what we're almost there.
We are so close to it. It is absolutely incredible how close we are, and that they've had content for us up until now. Like, content until a month out. In previous years, you would have lost content in the middle of August. They would do a ship sell in August and then gone.
The other really, really big thing with it is it's also not filler content. All the shows that we've been getting, both ISC and like their other weekly videos, have been some of the coolest things I've seen and heard of the game. And they're not going, oh, well, we're thinking about doing this. Oh, well, we're thinking about that. We're actually getting solid content information of, hey, this is what's in our scope. This is what we're doing. This is what we're working on. While we like this idea, it's probably going to be down the road. No date, no anything. Just, that's a backlog item.
Well, and to Jared's, I assumed his joy as the media manager. He gets to, like, every week when they do the shows, as of I think this year, I could say, his shows and his like responses, he's playing around with the community so much more, because when they have something that he gets to talk about or that he's heard about, it's close. It's not like, oh, this cargo system is never coming. It's coming in like 3 years. It's coming like in 2 weeks often when they do these videos. And we're about to talk and deep dive into this week's, because of the Zeus and MFD thing. And yeah. But I think the biggest thing there is that this stuff they have, I'll say, soft confirmed for a 324.2 release, which could be in PTU as early as like beginning of next week. So this stuff is like right here and right ready to go, which it was not. Like, CIG did not have that kind of track record back in the day for ISC. It was like, here's a ship you're getting in 8 months. Here's a system that we're thinking about that like either is in game now or is going into the game in like 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty huge, because like, you've been in Star Citizen's realm far longer than I have. In the few years I've been part of it, the change I've seen has been astronomical and absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it is incredible. Also, I'm seeing we have some emojis posted in chat. Corgi and Bob Ross, is that?
Yeah, it is.
That's hilarious.
But the really big thing is the tone of the game has entirely changed in a sense from their videos and what they've been doing. Because before we went from very vague, like, yeah, we're working on that, yeah, that'll be coming, to, hey, here's photos, here's videos, here's the developers talking about what they're doing. We're going to bring them on the show and explain to you what's happening right now that you're going to see shortly. And the amount of joy I get from actually seeing this stuff now and getting something tangible versus just, yeah, this thing might be coming soon.
Well, and as a long time backer, this is not the most information they've like shoved down our throats from ISCs or, God forbid, back when it was around the verse. Like those shows had a lot of information, but like it didn't feel well constructed. Whereas these new ones are less information overall, but it's accurate and well constructed information.
It really is.
So, with that said, to roll us on, because we've been rambling for the last 20 minutes, we'll hop into one of our big 3 items of news this week, because honestly, we're probably going to push over time, and I'd rather push over time talking about the Zeus or the MFDs than talking about the new cargo loader, because we did show it off in game. Now it exists as a purchasable item. I'm not going to lie, I don't think the price they chose was at all good. No, I think they kind of goofed up.
It was way too expensive for what I would say $25.
So we'll throw the browser capture over here so that everybody can see what I'm looking at. Here is the Argo Atlas that we all knew about, I guess, a week before? Or 2 weeks before? I guess they teased it softly about 2 weeks ago, and then it started existing in the PTU last week. And then now it exists.
Yeah.
Brand new vehicle. Based roughly on the Aliens power loader. Nobody can tell me I'm wrong.
And I'm not. Here's the thing. I don't like the price for it, but I cannot knock that it's a great item. It really is.
Yeah, so we'll scroll down to where they've priced it, and it is a like the community has agreed that it is just
womp womp.
It is So like for anybody watching that's thinking they want to use the cargo loader, at $40, I think it's a total waste of money. But give it one patch, and this thing will be out in it'll be out in shops in game, and people can buy it. And I assume very strongly there is no way this thing is going to go over like $100,000 in game.
If
so
that,
you buy one.
I wouldn't even say it's gonna be that much. I would put it at the 75. It'd be wild to me if they put it over $100,000.
This one is a buy to support the development of Star Citizen and nothing else. Do not buy it because your money is more valuable than this.
I'm gonna be 100% real. It's a great LTI token. I'm gonna say it's a low cost LTI token. $40 is way too much for it. But when it comes to LTI tokens, it's a great one because you can only go up. Mm-hmm. You don't have to especially with CitizenCon coming up and like ship sales. Great for that. Please do not buy it for use.
Yeah, do not buy this expecting to hold on to it at $40. Please buy it to use as an LTI token, or please buy it to use as melt fodder or something. Because, it's cool. It's incredibly cool, and it's really good at loading cargo. But, God forbid, it is not worth $40. Once it becomes an asset viable in game, buy 12. Okay.
100%. Actually, yeah, so that's a good question. So an LTI token stands for lifetime insurance. Basically, down the road, actually, maybe you know a bit more about insurance, because I'm still a little unsure what they mean by it. I think they're unsure what they mean by it.
So the current running, as far as I know, the current running information on insurance is every ship, every pledge comes with an insurance premium. Essentially, down the line, ships will be losable in game as long as you aren't paying an insurance premium. I don't really know how it's going to work. Basically, anything that's purchased in game could be losable, as opposed to like things that are purchased out of game, which still doesn't make sense to me. But a lifetime insurance token is their way of saying like, oh, your ship's going to be insured forever, because people have like 6 months, and that'll tick down starting after the game launches, and you'll have to make money to pay the insurance premiums. And I assume the insurance premiums just mean you can reclaim your ship maybe faster than someone else or something. But LTI essentially just means you can reclaim your ship forever for no additional cost or whatever they decide to do. But they've also said it's not important, so who knows?
Yeah. But no, it's LTI definitely isn't the most important thing in the world. I'm just one of those people that I enjoy having as much LTI as I can on my account. It's just it's a thing for me. I don't know why.
That's how you tell a veteran Star Citizen player, is because they have no idea what LTI means. And like realistically, I don't either. Do I have
it's subject to change.
Do I have 90% of my fleet, except for things that physically can't be on LTI? Yes. Does it make sense? I don't know. So that's the quick run through of LTI.
Yeah.
I hope that made sense. That also like could have made no sense in the slightest. So
basically, LTI no pay for ship. Timed LTI when LTI runs out. Pay for ship if things break.
Yeah, because you have insurance. You have your 6-month insurance, your 12-month insurance, your 24-month insurance. And the Star Citizen community will tell you, just get as much of those numbers as you can. Or, if you really want to have fun, get as many of the numbers duplicated as you can. Because I know some people who have like 10 stacks of 12 months insurance or 120-month insurance. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happens when you've got multiple stacks of it on one ship, but just get your pledge looking like an absolute receipt. Honestly, yeah.
That's the best way to go about it.
They're going to have to take the course first, because they don't have any idea.
But no, that actually is one thing. I'm still learning about it. Drex here is a master at it, is building up LTIs and doing like buybacks and everything. There's so much you can do to save money on like getting to a dream ship that you want. It's wild.
Oh,
there
like,
should be a course. You
can brick the system. Not brick the system, but you can really play their system. Now they're trying to like... It's like a leaky bucket. They're trying to patch all the holes in the bucket, but new holes just keep forming. If you were back in like the era of the best CCU chains and things like that, some people are seeing ships that are worth like $500, $600 now at under $200.
Which is insane.
Well, we know the Vanguard is a $250 ship because of some of the like absolute CCU nightmares I have done. I have a Vanguard for free in one of my ship packs. Like $250 ship. By all accounts, it shouldn't exist in there because the pack is only valued at it's a Polaris, so I think it's only valued at like $750, or it might be $850 because it's a Polaris, it's a Vanguard, and it might be a Terrapin in there still. I don't know. But the Vanguard is essentially free because I've played the system for 7 years.
Yeah.
It is the greatest system. It is not the greatest system. Do not believe me.
But no, going back to this is one area where I'm gonna give CIG a slap on the wrist. this really should have been $25.
Yeah, it should not have been anything over $30. Having it come in at $40 is. Let me look again. Yeah, $40. Having it come in at $40 is just asinine. I know, like, we're just armchair developers here, but, like, if you want a vehicle to load cargo, this thing is great. If you have $45 of store credit, buy it with store credit, and then get rid of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I've bought one now with store credit. I will be pitching it out once I can buy one of these things in game, because $40 does not make any sense to hold on to. Only do it if you've got excess store credit. Only do it if you're using it as an LTI token for your next ship. Do not buy this walker to keep.
Just buy it in game. Great item, not worth price.
Exactly. No, on the other side of that, we're going to show you guys something that you should buy. Because this week's ISC showed off the new Zeuses. At least two of them. The Zeus MR, or no, not the MR. What is it? The ES and the CL?
Yes.
Okay, I was saying I'm losing my mind. Also, will Mark Hamill still be alive? I have no idea. But all things that we've seen point to at least the possibility, and the good possibility, that Squadron 42 comes out by end of this year. At least to a beta. We'll see if that's, like, true or not.
I'm gonna, based on their track record here, while they are doing good, and I know a lot, we saw so much at last CitizenCon, I'm going to put it at mid-time next year or fall of next year.
Fair. I think that's probably the safest bet. I'm gonna err on, like, oh my goodness, it might actually come out this year. I think we're gonna get a release date at the very least from CitizenCon this year.
Oh yeah, if they do that alone, it's gonna minds will be blown.
They will, for the first time ever, give an actual date, and then people that have the Squadron 42 package will be able to get the game and actually play it.
That's going to be a big deal. That's the thing. I don't think people realize how big of a deal that's going to be if that actually happens.
And we'll see.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Zeus, though. The Zeus.
The beauty.
Zeus.
Such a cool-looking ship.
So this was, if I'm correct, it was CitizenCon's big ship last year. Like, it was the one that they showed off.
Yep.
I'm going to play through the video here just a little bit in the background while we talk over it, because go. But, like, this being the ship from last year, the big ship, came out a year later. That's already a quick turnaround for the CitizenCon ship. And it looks really, really, really good. It looks absolutely. No, don't want to see. Love you, John Crew. Don't want to see you. The ship looks absolutely amazing. As, like, basically what would be the next perfect tier 2 starter in Star Citizen. Because they say that this competes with, like, the Freelancer and the Cutlass. It doesn't, because it is better.
And that's the best way to put it is, I'm sorry, they can say it's a tier 2 all they want. Its functionality, its size, this is you buy this ship, there's no reason to get rid of it. I think it's gonna be one of the best ships. It's
a Constellation competitor at this point, and, like, for people that are on the fence about upgrading ships, like, I think for the first time in a while that Freelancer Cutlass Zone has a surefire, like, buy this ship. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy. That's crazy for me to think about. That's crazy for me to say. But, like, look at it. Would you just look at it?
every angle of the Zeus looks great. It looks so cool.
And like,
I
for
love the cockpit.
for anybody who
So,
has not like heard the lore of the Zeus, this is the Mark II version. So the reimagining of Star Citizen's first commercial spacecraft with a jump drive, which was essentially just like a Challenger space shuttle that had a big, I don't even know what a quantum drive would have been back then, just a big box that allowed it to light speed travel.
and this is basically the pre no, I guess not precursor, but the next variant of it.
This is
And
the reimagining of the original. Oh, there you go. There's the original Zeus there, little drawing.
yeah.
Here's a good money shot. So we've got the Zeus CL and the Zeus ES. The white one being the ES, the CL being the blue one. One is an explorer, one is a cargo ship. Both of them under $200. Both of them very impressive. And both of them coming out next patch.
Yep. Now, for people who don't know, there is going to be a third variant. I'm genuinely wondering if they're going to be releasing it with the new bounty hunting system.
I assume they will. I assume they're holding off on it until the 4.0 and the bounty hunting system happens. And like said in our comment, looks like one of the ships that would make your wallet hurt. And
Amazingly, no.
like bang for buck, all things considered, like the wallet will hurt on most ships. In comparison, this is incredible money for value. And I think most people are going to find themselves like going up to a Cutlass. If they like the Cutlass and like the game, they're going to be like, yeah, next steps is Zeus. I think the freelancers are dead. I think they're gone. But it's just like...
Yeah. The other thing is, while these two aren't combat ships, they don't lack firepower either.
No, they're not the most like strong ships, but they're also like far from the least. And they've got good cargo space. They've got a good layout. Like all things considered, CIG did a good job.
I love the interior of the Zeus so much and the way it's laid out.
Yep, and it's got space for a mining vehicle.
And yeah,
Oh,
like
that
most of
big
these
cargo
things
bay.
most of these things have enough shields to compensate. These things are tanky.
They're tanky, they're pretty, and they're cheap. Like I genuinely don't know what else you could say than like, oh my goodness, the Zeus is just beautiful.
It is.
And I know like people get uppity about like, oh, it's a virtual spaceship in a virtual game. Why are you so excited? Why are you so like blah? And if you're gonna go down the pipeline and down the rabbit hole as much as we have, you got to be excited about something. So I'm gonna choose to be excited about this.
I think it's worth being excited about.
Also, for my fellow Canadians in the chat or watching the stream live or otherwise, this is the first ship done entirely start to finish in Montreal. Their Montreal dev team did this ship start to finish, and it is looking like one of the best ships we've gotten ever.
And congrats to you guys. That's awesome.
So, claps all around to the Canadians on this one. Oh, like I agree. Don't shit on someone's excitement, but the whole pricing of everything hurts your soul. No, I'm with you.
Every time I hit buy on something in this game, I feel my soul just curl up and cry.
Yeah. Like, I cannot say that what I'm doing is even remotely intelligent. But the ships are pretty. The ships are very pretty.
And that's the other thing I think going forward here is it seems like they're getting smarter with their pricing and what the ship offers.
Yeah, and some of these are not getting alien taxed. Like this one, again, like when you go down the rabbit hole of between 45 and like $4,000 spaceships, there are certain points in that whole list where, based on their worth calculations, where the worth makes sense. This is one of the ships where the worth makes sense because it's a 3-person ship. It's fully soloable. It's got cargo. It's pretty as ever. And each of the variants are unique with unique tools. As they say, unique tools to do the unique jobs. The only one we don't understand the unique tools on are the Explorer, because we don't have exploration tools yet. It's obvious that the cargo one has an extra cargo space, and the bounty hunting one we haven't seen in engine yet, but bounty pod storage and an armory. That also is a pretty easy way to tell, okay, that's a benefit to a bounty hunting ship.
Yep. But no, the ships overall and the field they fall in with the different variants are great. And while honestly, I think the Explorer is going to be one of the best things in Pyro.
Yep.
Hands down. The CL, easily one of my favorite for this very reason right here. That
the arm.
The arm tractor beam is so helpful. Oh my god.
And it's like, to say the least, and like not glaze super hard here, that is one of the coolest things ever, is having the little hatch open and the cargo beam arm just goes.
It's a neat little thing.
Yeah. And yeah, like Potato said, everything that we're looking at will be purchasable in game. So if you're gonna spend money, go for it. If you're not gonna spend money, like go for it, right? Like this is a ship I can see people buying in game, and like I would guess like maybe 2-3 million, maybe somewhere in that bit. I don't know what it would be like with the new ship price hike. Maybe it'd be 5 or 6 million. But like at that price, whoa.
And there's something else that I feel like is really important with this as well, is you can buy into this game for like $45.
And I highly recommend it. As somebody who has done more than $45, do not spend more than $45. If you're gonna pick a limit at like 250. 250 seems to be the average.
I would say spend $45 and find a group like, Lifeboat Logistics here with us.
Cough.
If you don't, you can fly around in other people's ships, gun with them, crew with them. Like, there's so much to do now. You don't need to own your own ship.
Yeah, and like that's the other great part, is like the content that these ships bring isn't gate kept by anybody other than who you're friends with. CIG isn't going to tell you, they didn't give us $500. You are never allowed to touch a Hull C. It's like, okay, well, no, I'll go buy one in game. And then you're good. You have the same ship that people out of game had. You just worked for it in game. Sure, like when things wipe, you're not going to get the ship back. But like, hey, you still got to fly it.
Yeah.
Oh man, so we've gotten into the interior of the Zeus now for this like set of the clips.
Love it.
You guys will see that like things are really, really tightly laid out. I'll scroll back a bit.
It's so streamlined though that I love it.
And it's very tightly packed. Like this is more tightly packed than most other ships. Well, most other ships in general. But it still doesn't feel super, super, super tight. like they've got a little bit of space. They got component hatches. Also, if you guys didn't notice, um, on this clip with the component hatches, look at the shield generator when they show it. This is one of the first times in the game where the shield generators and the other components, when the hatches are open to them, disconnect from like the nozzles or whatever like would be connected to the ship. So seeing that those ports like now exist, seeing as they didn't for ages, like even back to like the Corsair, which is another really, really, really strong example of like a modern ship. Even its ports don't connect like that.
Yeah.
It just goes to show the new, not the newness, but
They're actually, such a
yeah,
long way.
Newness.
Also, I hate how excited I am about a ladder.
Oh yeah. Well, also look at right here. I think that's an escape pod hatch. So the beds should jettison as escape pods. I think that's an escape pod hatch. I'm not positive. Don't quote me. We'll pause here. Ship's got a little kitchenette. Better kitchenette than like most ships of its size class. The Cutlass has none. The Spirit has, if I'm correct, none. The Freelancer has a drink machine in a closet. What other ships are in that size class? I don't think there's anything else in that class.
No, that really said Cutlass, the Freelancers.
Yeah, like
no, that's really it.
Does the C1 have a kitchen? Or is it just like a cutout in the wall?
Yeah, no, it has a cutout on the wall. It's nothing fancy, but it does have a kitchen area.
Okay, so like similar to the Freelancer, it's just a cut in the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got a coffee machine. Yeah, so the Zeus as a ship in that class has an actual table. And you know, as a Star Citizen fan, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. They're trying to make these ships realistic to like what you would actually live in. Much prefer having a table and a fridge than just a drink machine. Here's the beds, toilet, couch, and we're just gonna not ignore, but no, actually, we're gonna ignore the atrocity that went on with this top bunk here, seeing as it could have been another bunk, but they added a shelf.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, the ships are really a 3-man crew.
Mm-hmm. Having an extra bed wouldn't make sense, but at the same time, like,
how dare you? How dare you?
How dareth? And then cargo variant obviously does cargo. The biggest difference with the cargo variant is that like all of the here they're showing the differences now actually. So we'll show the differences off and then we'll talk about MFDs quick. First big difference: weapon racks have moved. Guys talking. Cargo variant versus non-cargo variant, or vice versa. Kitchenette into much smaller kitchenette. Bedroom. Remove the couch.
What I really like about this, though, is there's actually clear differences between the ships, and they make functional sense. Like, the Explorer would be more about comfort and living, I won't say luxurious, but a bit more at ease, flying around more, while cargo is literally, hey, we made this thing maximized for cargo space.
Yeah, they've ripped out comfort for cargo, which, like, makes sense. It's got the IKEA paint on it, too, which people love. It's just very cool.
I'm not gonna lie, I can't wait to see the concierge paint on it.
Yeah, the gold.
It's gonna look so good.
Our next thing to go over, I'm
Uh,
just gonna pull up I'm gonna try and find a good screen here because I think the one we want to look at is the Cutlass because it's the one that's gotten the most change.
I think that was it right there.
There we go, right there.
Not
All
you. Go away, you.
not man. Um, so their whole MFD system has, well, it's changing to the point now where like it is almost unrecognizable to what we have in the patches today, and this is what is coming into the next patch.
They look so much better. Oh my god.
It is infinitely better. You get up here in the corner, you um, get your firing groups, you get your I guess ship hologram. The Cutlass's heads-up display is in particular. It is a particularly cool one because they have taken flight information, which on other ships normally sits up here, just in the cockpit, and they've taken it and slammed a speedometer right in there. And they've slammed it into the dashboard. So now, like, Cutlass owners are going to have to watch. Well, they'll have to watch gauges as opposed to like screens. And yes, it's a bit cluttered, but the Cutlass was cluttered from the get go. So I'm not going to blame that on the Cutlass. I will. I'll pull up because we've got the Gladius here. Yeah, there we go. So. Do you have him looking upwards from the Gladius's seat? No, we don't. The Gladius, though, being an example, is a much, much better example of what most of these heads-up displays are going to look like. The 85X is another one that's a really good example. It's all kind of packed into these little panels as far as your information, as opposed to the Cutlass, where it is literally everywhere. And then you've got the things up here.
I really just like that's so clean. That's so much nicer, and I love the ship displays in the corners of the helmet.
Mm-hmm. The information is all valid, and it's showing you things like missiles and things as well.
Not only that, you can finally read it.
Mm-hmm. Also,
it's so hard to see what the MFDs currently show right now unless you've like run through them a few times.
Also, up at the top, the enunciator panel now has a hit. So if you are hit by weapons, or you are being hit, it will tell you are being hit.
Which is great.
Which is, like, it's just another thing that is a bonus to see.
Quality of life?
Yeah. And you see all these things, like it's got all 4 weapon groups on the ship, like self status. So you can tell what your weapons are doing. Your gimbal's fixed. You've got Omni Skies. It looks like the groups are they are either named by themselves or they're named by what weapons are in them. So, like, theoretically, you get better information out of whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can turn things on and off. You can turn on or off the information in the top corners, depending on what you want to see. Like, if you want more info, you get more info. If you want less info, you get less info. The new scanning stuff, none of these panels are the scanning. But it does give you target information, gives you all this fun stuff. The output panels. I'm trying to see one that has like all of the stuff at once. This one has more of the stuff. So your power plant or your power for specific like weapons and stuff. You can also turn on power for gunners, your ship's indicators, your scan panel. You can scan a ship specifically, featuring Swerve's not here, but featuring Polaris.
Yeah. Polaris.
Polaris.
Actually, wait, I don't. Is that the I don't think it's the Polaris.
That is the Polaris. It is. It is most
Oh,
definitely
okay.
Polaris.
Okay, yeah. I see it now.
And it says right here, bearing size 10 torpedoes 28. So it has the 28 size 10 torpedoes.
That's a lot of baboomba.
That is a lot. Your power management now is done by these bars, which is, I think it's going to be weird for like pilots trying to quick power manage, but I also think realistically, like, it might be better overall. Because you can, well, it's got points. So it looks like 24 points of power. You can choose exactly where you want them to go. And then you can kind of set them and forget them, as opposed to the triangle we've got right now.
Mm-hmm. Now, I am hoping there's still a way to kind of, in a sense, have the power triangle set up.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I know they you select certain things and stuff now, but I'm hoping there's a way like you can just set a few buttons to be like your shields, your thrusts, and your weapons at that for just that moment, and then remanage it later.
Because as you can see them messing with it here, they're able to mess the power around. And on different ships, it does different things, like the power output changes. It shows health of components, so it'll tell you what's up, like what's damaged, if something's damaged or something's being damaged.
Fire again.
Fire, yeah, like up here, it's got 3 damage systems, 4 systems in critical condition, and 1 system with an error.
Now, I have to say that is something I really like because, like so said, engineering.
Engineering.
It's really nice being like in the cockpit and letting people who on your ship to do engineering stuff. Hey, this is what's out. This is showing me, red or yellow, and they know where to go look.
Also, for longtime Star Citizen players, all of your settings that you have had to be turning on and off based on ships, based on whatever. Now every ship is going to have an MFD that remembers what you want to have on your stupid your stupid menus, your stupid like flight systems, and you can choose it per ship. So my M50 does not have to fly in the exact same settings as my Drake Caterpillar.
I love it. I seriously love how they have everything set up, and it's gonna function better. It's gonna work better. The layout's gonna be nicer, and you're have to dig through settings and all these other I would say nigh impossible menus to remember. You just have it right there.
Well, and like all of the information, the things that you want to see, you can have casted to your heads-up display. You can choose what gets casted. At least I'm pretty sure they said you can choose what gets casted. I don't know if that's going to work for the first implementation, but it should at least down the line. But like, I can turn things on and off per ship.
Yeah. And I know it's hilarious because in complete retrospect, these are such basic settings, but seeing the progression that we're finally getting to this point to make things nicer and easier overall is so cool.
Oh, and like the ability to clean up or dirty up your HUD as much as you think is necessary. So nice. Also this in a turret view. In a turret view, you can have the view of your ship and the view of your other stuff. Oh, this isn't a turret view. This is a gunnery view. But regardless, in the same thing, the gunnery view, you can see things.
You can finally keep displays up so you're not like, am I dying?
And having like some semblance of targeting display in your turret menu. Again, it's something that is so stupid, so simple. But the fact that ships couldn't do it was just a nightmare. All right. Well, we'll pop away from Mr. Man talking about his MFDs, and we can wrap it up there.
Yeah.
That is all coming. The Zeus and the MFDs are all coming next patch, which again could be in PTU as early as next week. We don't have any promises. I can't give you guys any promises based on what I know. But hey, it could be there, and it could be there as early as Monday.
Which is wild.
It's just astonishing to me.
But it's great to see the progress at this point where it's a matter of weeks versus years.
Yeah. It's like days to weeks as opposed to weeks to months.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, if you don't have anything else to say, Icarus, we can wrap her up and say goodbye until next week.
No, I think that's everything, my man.
All right. Well, thank you guys all for watching. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Anybody who's watching the VOD, thank you for watching. We obviously
thank you.
super appreciate the engagement with the content. And we will be back next week with, again, what could be a short show depending on what information we get. We're really not sure because who knows?
Well, we don't know.
Actually, next week I think they have one more ISC. I'm not positive, but I think one more next week.
Yeah, we'll see.
So next week we'll hopefully have some good content for you. If not, short show, or we'll play another game or do something like that. But that said, we'll see you guys later.
Yeah, see everyone later.